Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we out there? Welcome to Tuesday, the 24th of July, 7 p.m. here in Queensland. It is the top of the hour and time to get underway. So welcome to the SWIG online presentation. It is designed to give you an insight into the great opportunity that exists right now with this amazing company. Before we get into anything, I do want to go through this compliance slide just to make sure that we're all basically singing from the same hymn sheet. So this evening, we're going to talk a little bit about multi-level crowd investing. It is a new term in the marketplace, and it is a very, very exciting term, and you'll find out a lot more about it throughout this evening. We're going to talk a little bit about EIPs, educational information products. You may also hear me refer to them as educational investment packages. We're going to talk a little bit about PIPEs, pre-IPO private equity shares, and if you're unsure what IPO stands for, it is simply an initial public offering, and what that is when a company is listed or offered for the very first time on a public stock exchange. So please note, we are not licensed, we are not selling, nor are we licensed to sell shares. All countries have their own rules on the sale of financial products, and we respect the laws of the land. Generally speaking, most countries allow for the sale of information products without a special license. We are not selling shares. We are offering an opportunity to participate in a wealth creation education which provides the fundamental principles on which wealth is created and retained. For doing so, you receive PIPEs as a bonus, which is basically equity in a company that we're about to talk about also. We do not give financial advice, and you shouldn't either unless you're licensed to do so in your area of residence. Only general information is given and should be noted. Please do your own due diligence or seek confirmation from a licensed accountant or financial advisor in your area of compliance for your state or your country. So I'd just like to reiterate, ladies and gentlemen, we are not selling shares. If you are here to buy shares this evening, I am sorry to disappoint you. You are in the wrong place. So for those of you who are not sure who I am, my name is Andrew Hawkes. I'm a father first. I have 3 beautiful children, all of which are about to jump on a plane with me to head up to Minsk. And you'll see where I'm heading very, very soon. I'm a leader manager with SKYWAY'S Group. That's in the network structure there. I'm a co-owner of the technology that I'm about to share you a little bit about. I'm one of 8 English-speaking master profi coaches worldwide. I'm a private investor and have been doing that since I basically, I bought my first property when I was 21, so I've been doing that a little while now. I'm an online marketing specialist. I haven't had a job in the last 10 years. I've been working online and done well enough out of that I haven't needed to work necessarily. I've written a book called Rivers of Gold, How to Create Multiple Income Streams. And it was born out of the fact that, I made a lot of money when I left the Air Force. I did 11 years in the Royal New Zealand Air Force. I made a lot of money when I came out of there, but I had absolutely no idea as to how to manage that money. And I lost it very, very quickly. So I wrote a book to say, hey, these are the mistakes that I've made, and perhaps this is how you can keep some of the money that you make, because making money is not the hard part. Keeping it is. So who are we, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we are SKYWAY'S Group. Now, these companies that you see, the logos that you see up ahead of us here, are all related. Now, if we look at the top one, SKYWAY'S Group, and the one in the middle down the bottom, the little gold one, it stands for the Academy of Private Investor. Now, that's a company that was put together by a man named Andre Havrato, basically built out of the training that he himself has created. He's a professional investor, has been investing for over 20 years and has distilled all of that experience into that company. Now, he met a gentleman, and we're going to meet both of these gentlemen in a second, by the name of Dr. Anatoly Yanitsky, who had a company called Transnet, or the Transnet Group. And if you see Skyway there on the left-hand side, that stands for the Skyway Technologies. Together, they partnered to roll out a very, very new concept called multi-level crowd investing. We're going to talk a little bit about that, as I say, and came up with SKYWAY'S Group that gave people like you and me an opportunity to have ownership in a rather large technology company. So this gentleman here, Andre Havrato, he is the CEO of SKYWAY'S Group. As I've said, he is a professional investor. He has over 20 years experience as a professional investor. He's the visionary behind the Academy of the Private Investor, and now, of course, the new economic evolution of the world, which we will talk a little bit about. He's a multidisciplinary professional investor. That means he invests in multiple different investment vehicles. He is very, very diversified, so that if one goes down, the other ones are still making him money and coming in each and every day. He's a master in the professional of networking marketing. He has built some very large structures in his life within the networking industry. And it's not to be confused with what we're doing here. It's very, very different. So he is a business coach, and he was just awarded for his coaching in Russia recently. And of course, he is the master of dream realization, i.e. he is living his dreams, and I can certainly attest to that. This gentleman here, Dr. Anatoly Yanitsky, he is an absolute genius in his own right. Well, in fact, he is a genius. He's the genius behind Skyway Technology. He grew up in the Chernobyl area. Now, in 2001, he did receive a grant from the United Nations to prove his concept of his string rail technology. Now, he started working on that in 1978, so he's been like a dog with a bone. He hasn't let it go, and it's only going from strength to strength. Now, as I said, he did get that grant from the UN. He did prove the validity of his transport, and as a result of that, has since earned 3 Golden Chariot Awards, which are for innovations in transport. And this is what Dr. Yanitsky has to say about it. We create a fundamentally new transport system, which is eco-friendly, safe, comfortable, and significantly cheaper compared to all existing solutions. Having passed a wide range of international expert evaluations, the innovative Skyway string system has proved its validity. And we're going to talk about a little bit about that as we go through. So back in 2014, these two gentlemen met, and they met because one of Andrei's students through his Academy of Private Investor had heard about this string technology that was looking for crowdfunding. So Dr. Yanitsky had the idea of multi-level crowdfunding to fund his dream, and he basically partnered with Andrei Havrato because Andrei had the expertise on how they could do that. And Skyway Invest Group was born, and here we are today, 4 years later, and over $100 million raised in that instance. So problems that we can solve, or Skyway Technology can solve, is simply this. There are a myriad of issues that the Skyway Tech can solve, and SWIG can assist with as well. So obviously, we look at some of these pictures here. We can see the Gulf of Mexico up there, a massive oil spill. We can see cars, congestion. We can see accidents. We can see smog and congestion with commuters and things like that, with traffic or with transport. We do have a lot of issues that we can certainly fix. And one of the things that Skyway Invest Group can assist with is the economic issues that we have. Because through this multi-level crowd investing scenario that has been created here, this allows a lot of us, if you like, the everyday mums and dads, the blue-collar workers, to actually take back some of the power by being able to get the information that we need and have been starved for years to actually manage our own money and grow it further. And I think that's incredibly exciting. So if we look at the technology that we have is amazing, and it is starting to roll out now worldwide. If we look on the left, we have the high speed, which will travel up to 500 kilometers an hour. In fact, tests are now showing that it potentially is going to be able to go faster than that. It has a performance of over 500,000 passengers per day. And of course, we've looked there to the urban Skyway, which is the next one, speed of up to 150 kilometers an hour. That would be a relatively short solution, anywhere up to 200 kilometers that it would do. Again, performance of more than 25,000 passengers per hour. In fact, it has now also gone up. It is 50,000 passengers an hour. That is a certified product, ladies and gentlemen, meaning that that can actually roll out right now anywhere around the world and have passengers on it, which I think is really incredibly exciting. The other one there, the cargo, up to 150 kilometers an hour, suspended, and the mounted, it can actually go up to 500 kilometers an hour of the same track as the high speed. It can deliver more than 200 million tons per year. And that's very exciting for the likes of mining companies or even farmers, meaning farmers can get their crops out to the ports, if you like, and just a much more economical solution. And I do believe we have a comparison that we can go through a little bit later on. This piece of land here, Eco Techno Park, was gifted by the Belarusian government to Dr. Yanitsky for Skyway Technologies. It was an old bomb range from the old Soviet days, and they didn't believe that Dr. Yanitsky could actually clean it up. However, he did. It's a thriving piece of land right now, and it is our testing and certification facility. Now, the Belarusian government did gift that land because they did see some merit in what Dr. Yanitsky was doing and hopefully wanted a dispensation when they went to put it in themselves. It is one of the countries that are on board with this technology and are looking to implement it. So there are 3 types of rail there: suspended, semi-rigid, and rigid rail. And it is, in fact, where I am heading up to personally, along with another 80-odd people, I think, from New Zealand, Australia, Malaysia, Singapore. and of course, thousands from around the rest of the world to Ecotech Park for EcoFest to actually have a look at it, to be able to touch the transport, ride the transport, and get our photos taken. So very, very, very cool. As I say, it is our testing facility, and last year in November, we received certification on the Urban Skyway, the Unibus. So if we look now at the stages of development, there are 15 stages of development, and we are currently sitting in stage 12, expecting likely to be finished stage 15 potentially by the end of the year. Now you can see there the timeline starts in 1978. That is when Dr. Yanitsky first started working on this idea. And in 2014, they started the drawings for Ecotechno Park, and of course, Skyway Invest Group was born around that time as well. And in 2015, they started digging ground, or cutting ground if you like, and building the testing facility at Belarus. Building construction continued right through 2016 and still continues out there today, to be honest. Demonstration and certification started happening in 2017. Obviously, we've already mentioned that certification occurred for the Unibus late last year, and of course the Unibike a little bit earlier. 2018 and beyond, we are starting to look at technology adoption. Now, there's a lot of noise about things that may or may not be happening in the UAE. There's, again, nothing official being said about what's going on out there yet, but it is very exciting developments that are happening, which is causing a lot of us to keep a close eye on that, let's be fair. So there you can see 2018 and beyond, the company does fully intend to go to IPO, which of course we've already spoken about, is that initial public offering. So basically, by participating in our education that we're about to talk about, you receive equity in this company. And when it goes to IPO, you can potentially get a return there. So in 2014, there was a valuation done of this company that put the value of the company at over $400 billion. Now, at the same time, there was an equivalent amount of share parcels issued for that private company. So that is private equity. So basically what that's saying is that each one of those share parcels has a face value, or a nominal value, if you like, of $1. Now, at that time, they had 3 transport solutions that were on paper, nothing in the ground, and an idea, essentially. Fast forward to where we are in 2018, there is currently another valuation happening. We have now more than 300 MOUs, which is a memorandum of understanding, signed in over 12 countries, more than 12 countries. And we've raised more than $100 million. I should cross that out where it says 60. We have raised over $100 million so far. Now, it says there a fully transferable technology, and I got the question a few weeks ago, what does that mean? Well, it's very, very simple. It basically means that the technology can be moved from country to country, and each country can operate and create that under license from the head company. So that means it brings jobs back to our own economy. And I think that's really, really important to note, that it doesn't actually take jobs away from our economy. It's going to bring jobs back to our economy. And I think that's really, really important to note. So these are some of the countries that are involved. We've got Indonesia there, top left. Now, the interesting thing about Indonesia is that they have introduced the technology through their university. So already some of the young engineers are starting to blood themselves on this technology, on this new evolution of transport. You can see India in there, Belarus, we've already mentioned, obviously the big handshake going on there. There's lots of things happening. Australia on the top right, that is Rod Hook there. He has given, or is giving, Anatoly Yanitsky there a share in footy. And of course, Michael Kitachenko there is with them. He is the reporter for, or the spokesman, if you like, for Skyway Technologies. You can see Russia, the Ukraine, you can see Ireland in there. Some of the countries you don't see are Ethiopia, the UAE, Tanzania, Kazakhstan. So there's lots and lots of countries on board. You can see this here. That is Dr. Yanitsky with the Dalai Lama, His Holiness. This transport has actually received the blessing from His Holiness the Dalai Lama because of its eco-friendliness. The mere fact that by implementation of this, we can start to get our countries looking greener again, because we know that if we don't do anything, in the next 3 to 4 generations, there's going to be nothing for us left to fix. We're going to be scrapping over what's left, and that's a problem. We can see here the Railway Tech Expo in Indonesia. We did show there earlier in the year, very, very successfully. Obviously, we've already spoken about Indonesia being involved through the university program. You can see the Future Cities show in Dubai 2018. That was in April. You can see Victor Baburin in there, also Dr. Yanitsky, and some of our partners there, in fact, as well, which is great. There was some very, very exciting developments come out of that, and I know there'll be some announcements come out about that in the very, very near future. So, sorry, the slide wasn't moving quite as fast as it should have been, so that's why the pause. So you can see here in 2017 that Skyway Technology did receive Technology of the Year for construction industry in the Republic of Belarus. And it's no wonder why. You can go up and have a look at Eco Techno Park there in Marina Gorka in Belarus, and it is just a marvel of engineering, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again in the next couple of weeks. Now, something interesting to note is the ISO certificates, the ISO 9001, I believe it is. This basically, yeah, it says it right there, ISO 9001. This is the only company in Belarus to have actually been awarded this certificate. So it basically means it's a turnkey product. And we're talking about that transferable technology. It means that it can roll out in any country, and any country can essentially pick it up and go, okay, this is what we need to do, because it conforms to a certain set of standards. So that's great. That's the technology. But ladies and gentlemen, that's also multi-level crowd investing. What is in it for you? Well, through Skyway Invest Group, as I've said, we offer a wealth creation education. And the reason we do that is because most people, if we think about lottery winners, when they receive their big windfall, they're usually broke within, 90% of them are broke within 3 years, and usually in a worse off position than what they were. And it's because they were never ever given an education on what to do with that wealth. So there's a very, very good chance of that again with what we're offering here. So instead, we're actually offering an education that will help you keep more of the money that you make each and every month. And in fact, it will help you actually grow that. So if you can see the Apple there and the Bitcoin, perhaps you missed Apple back from 76. What was it? Ron Wayne, who was one of the founders there, sold his 10% stake in Apple for $800 because he didn't think it would take off. And 46 years later, or 40 odd years later, it's now worth $56 billion or something like that, something ridiculous. He's actually, it's no more than that, 90 billion. He's certainly kicking himself. We can see you could be a rat or a hamster on the wheel for the rest of your life, or you could start to dive into the education. The cash flow quadrant you see there in the bottom left, the E, the S, and the B and the I, made famous by Robert Kiyosaki. If we're thinking about the E, it stands for employee. And that's essentially what our education system teaches us to go and do. It basically teaches us to go, find a job, pay our taxes, and die. And that's of no interest to me. I tell you what, if we become very, very good employees, some of us move on to become self-employed. We become great technicians in our chosen field, and we go, hey, I'm going to go out and work for myself, which generally means less money for more hours, let's be honest. So basically, that is the poor side of the quadrant. If we go to the other side, the rich side, we look at the B and the I. Now, the B stands for big business. That's any organization that is 500 people or more. So multi-level organizations certainly fit into that. Now, that is where you start to leverage some of your time, and leveraged income is probably the best sort of income you could ever get. Obviously, our goal through our education is to get everybody into the I quadrant, which is the investor quadrant. Now, basically, that is when money comes in while you sleep. Now, Warren Buffett is famous for saying, if you cannot work out how to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And again, I've already said I have no interest in that, and I'm sure if you're listening to this webinar, then there's a good chance you have no interest in it either. So we've already mentioned multi-level crowd investing, and it is a relatively new concept. But think about this. With any other traditional company, you've got to go and work, and you generally get the one income stream. With multi-level crowd investing, you get to build an asset throughout your network that we'll have a little bit of a talk about as well. You build that asset, and every time you introduce a new project into your network, you get paid again. So that asset will continue to pay you for the rest of your life, and so will the assets you get equity in. So in 2012, Barack Obama passed the Jobs Act, what we know as the Jobs Act, and that allowed for equity-based crowdfunding to occur. And essentially what happens in the US, most of the world sort of follows suit in what goes on. So what we have right here is some equity crowdfunding in front of us. It says there, Obama passed the Jobs Act on April 5th, in fact, 2012, and it was helped to promote and support entrepreneurship with small business growth. So that meant everyday mum and dad investors like yourself and myself could go in and crowdfund for a company and receive equity as for participation in that. Very, very similar to what we're doing here. Now, one of the biggest companies fundable there, you can see the Preble smartwatch, $10.2 million it raised through its crowdfunding efforts. Well, I've already said, ladies and gentlemen, through our efforts, in fact, just through Skyway Invest Group's efforts, we've already raised over $64 million for this project. So our multi-level crowd investing probably works just a little bit better than what's going on there. Now, if you look at the Oculus Rift one, it's highlighted there. It raised $2.4 million through its crowdfunding. And while it was acquired, or when it was acquired by Facebook for $2 billion, not one of the people that helped crowdfund that got a return for that money. Now, if we say the same thing about Skyway Technology, then there's every chance that we will receive a dividend from that. Now, you can participate in this through a one-off payment. It's very simple. For $1,000 you would receive, for your participation in your education package, you would receive a bonus of 45,000 pre-IPO private equity shares from the Skyway Technology. This technology that is about to roll out worldwide. And of course, there's already 500,000 members just in our organization worldwide that have seen this vision. So you can get involved from anywhere from $10 US right up to $1 million if you like. And again, each one of those packages comes with educational, or that's what you're getting. You're purchasing education, you get a bonus of equity. And I think that's pretty exciting. For those of you who think, hey, I'd like to get a slightly bigger pack, but I haven't got the money right now, I'd like to pay it off, then there is installment examples for you. There's an installment possibility. Anywhere from, again, $10 a month right up to $100,000 a month. And you can see some of the examples up there in front of you. Each one of them come with a slightly different amount of pre-IPO private equity shares. So the potential for Skyway Technology, it cannot be underestimated. Right now, we're in the science and high tech. Obviously, tech companies are certainly fetching a sort of decent price in the stock market. We are in the venture and the startup market. So that's where we are right now. 2014 to 2018, we are sort of coming to the end of that because the project is getting a much more mature stage. So now we're starting to head into the manufacturer market. So we've already talked about this fully transferable technology that could come to your country and promote or provide more job opportunities for people. But over and above that, you could participate in this side of it as well and actually be a co-owner of it. And when we think about the real estate market, we're talking 2018 to 2020. Obviously, to build these rails, these Skyway string technology, then we're going to have to acquire some land. And in that, we're going to be building linear cities and affordable cities for people to be able to go and live in. Now, if we think about the high-speed concept for a second, 500 kilometers an hour, it can travel. So that means we can now start to live in remote locations where, let's be honest, real estate is probably a lot cheaper and still be able to commute to work within an hour. That's very, very exciting for a lot of people. We think about Siberia for a second. It was always, so far away on the other side of the Soviet Union. But now that a high-speed solution makes it possible for people to live out there and actually commute to work. That's very, very exciting because it's very, very picturesque out there. Obviously, we're going to be looking at moving into the stock market when we're hitting 2020 to 2025. Now, with all of these other things that we've already gone through, the real estate market, the manufacturer market, that's going to continue to put the value of the Skyway technology up. And from participation in the education package, again, you receive equity in that. What's the potential of that long term? Then, of course, after that, we can start to be looking at the banking sector. Now, this one excites me. This one excites me a lot because through our multi-level crowd investing scenario, we now have, well, in fact, we've got 1 million people worldwide that have been involved with this company, with this technology that have helped crowdfund it. This now brings the power back to these people because the returns they potentially are going to get allows them now to come together and start doing big projects of their own. This is how we start to take the power back for ourselves. So part 3, guys, there is business opportunities. If you did want to share this with other people, then you're welcome to. Now, you don't have to. You can just sit back and wait for all those opportunities to come through that we've already just spoken about, and that would set you up. However, if you went, you know what? This is a really, really great concept. I'd like to share this with people. Well, guess what? You're able to. Now, people look to this sort of business as a way to create a balanced lifestyle. This business shows you and allows you to become a professional investor, meaning money will come to you while you sleep. We've already spoken a little bit about that. That is incredibly attractive for a lot of people. Imagine all the good things you can do. Hey, you can have great holidays wherever you want. But imagine taking your friends with you to be able to do it as well and saying, hey, if you plugged into this, you could come and share this with me as well. As I've already said, there's 80 of my closest family and friends going up to Belarus in the next week for a big celebration. That's very cool. So with our opportunity right now, there is currently 6 income streams available. Today, You could earn money from your network. You could build an asset from your network, and every time there is a new project to consider or to crowdfund for, you could potentially make money through your network again, simply by sharing with other people. That becomes an asset. Tomorrow, there's still plentiful opportunities. You could become a country rep where you can potentially be a speaker that they would fly around the world, and they would certainly look after you for doing that. You get to have an influence on what happens within that area. You can become a member of the multi-level crowd investing department. Now, the exciting part about that, ladies and gentlemen, is that you get a share of global revenue from the company if you get to that position. Now, this is reserved for people that do massive things for the company and really don't expect too much for it. They just get out and do what needs to be done. They've had a big impact globally, and they get invited to sit on that council. You can get a percentage from the big contracts. Obviously, when they start to implement this technology, which, ladies and gentlemen, is imminently close, you can start to get a percentage from those contracts if you've helped implement them. In the future, we've already spoken about IPO. We've already spoken about the nominal price. And if you haven't already worked out the math there, for that $1,000 example we gave you before, you got 45,000 pre-IPO private equity shares. Just remember what I said about the current valuation. And of course, in the future, you're going to be looking at dividend payments. Now, if you're not sure what dividends are, let me break it down to you like this. Elvis Presley died just about 41 years ago next month, okay, in August. Now, his estate still receives millions and millions of dollars each and every year for work that he did while he was still alive. 41 years later, and he's still receiving millions of dollars every year, or his estate's receiving millions of dollars. Okay, that is royalties, but it is very, very similar. If we think about George Stephenson, who is accredited as being the father of the steam engine, he isn't, but he did put it on the rail. He created all of British Rail's networks. Now, British Rail no longer exists, but I can tell you, without word of a lie, his descendants, 5 generations later, his great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren are still receiving billions of dollars every year in dividends. This is the potential we have with the opportunity ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen. If you did want to participate as a business, then you're going to get rewarded for doing that. Obviously, you're going to build that network, and that's going to become an asset for you. For anyone you personally introduce, you would receive 8% of whatever they put in. Now, this is where it differs from any other traditional networking company you've probably ever been involved with, is that there's no monthly minimum, okay? There's no minimum requirement for you to be able to get paid. In fact, if you make a sale today, you'll get paid today. You're not getting paid off your weakest leg, you're just getting paid. Of your second level, you'd get 7%. That runs right through to president. On your fourth level, as a partner, you wouldn't receive anything. However, as an agent, you'd receive 4%, again, right through to president. On your fifth level, neither partner nor agent get any money. In fact, they don't get anything else after the fourth level. However, as a consultant right through to president, you will receive 3%. Now, for your sixth level and below, there's a further 8% that is shared across those levels right through to president. If you've got any deeper questions on that, then get back to the person who invited you here this evening, and they'll be able to explain it a little bit more to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, how can you start? It is incredibly simple. Please get back to the person who invited you here this evening, register, complete your verification process, and choose which package, which EIP you'd like to get started with. Learn about the product for the company, and of course, try and learn the business inside out. If you're serious about it, you want to know as much as you can so that you can answer people's questions. The better you can answer people's questions, the better you will be able to run this business. Tap into the Facebook group. Skyway Invest Group Global is one of the main groups out there, and is providing relevant information on a daily basis, and it is very, very easy to navigate. Of course, invite others to these regular webinars that are happening. There will be a website up very, very soon. In fact, the site's up, but it's being populated right now, that will have all of the webinar information on it, where you can plug into them, what time zones they're in, because if it's not convenient right now, then you could also get the recording a little bit later. So the opportunity summary, ladies and gentlemen, very simple. Become an educated and professional investor. Have that money coming to you while you sleep. Remember, if you don't work out how to do it while you sleep, you'll work until you die. Grow a business and have unlimited earning potential. Obviously, from level 6 and below, you get paid to infinity from a consultant and above. So you do literally have unlimited earning potential. You can create passive income streams. That one's a kicker. You think about this for a second. To win at the game of life, all you have to do is have all of your monthly expenses covered. Once you have those covered, you have freedom, and you can do that through this opportunity. You can create a Skyway portfolio with billions. Now, if you go back to that slide that I was talking about with the banking sector and the stock exchange and the real estate and the manufacturing, when you start to put all of those things in play, ladies and gents, when you put all of those things in play, you really have the potential to create a portfolio with billions of dollars. We are just getting started with this. There are a lot more projects to come yet. You can help others and leave a legacy. They say that you die twice. The first time when your mortal soul leaves your body, and the second time when somebody stops speaking your name. The last time somebody speaks your name is the second time you die. When you leave a legacy, ladies and gents, people continue to talk about you. Aristotle has been dead for centuries, yet he is still spoken about today. So he's still not dead, is he? So you can do what you love and follow your passion. I absolutely love what I do and sharing this opportunity with so many people. It's not about the money, ladies and gentlemen. It is about being able to break free from what society expects of us. And if you want something more, then you're probably in the right place. Now, the next thing you do from here, basically when you want something, the universe conspires in helping you achieve it. That's one of Miller's favorite quotes from The Alchemist. The thing to do now, ladies and gentlemen, get back in touch with the people or the persons that have introduced you to this evening. If you're one of my friends and you want to get in touch with me, then please do that. Otherwise, I look forward to meeting you at one of our events in the future, and want to congratulate you and welcome you to the Skyway Invest Group family. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been my pleasure to be here with you this evening. My name is Andrew Hawkes, and I will look forward to talking to you very, very soon. Take care.